Remember the 90s, those snap bracelets where you would like hit your wrist and they would snap? Remember the 90s whenever NSYNC was actually cool? Remember the 90s whenever NSYNC actually made sense? Remember the 90s whenever we didn't have the J Bros around? Remember the 90s whenever Miley Cyrus was only 6 years old? Remember the 90s whenever cell phones used to be this big? Remember whenever these were stopped being made? Remember in the 90s whenever we used this to connect our Game Boy colors? Remember in the 90s whenever you used to dream about him at night? Remember the 90s we had to use these instead of the controllers? Remember the 90s that we still had cartridges like this game? Remember the 90s whenever all that had its original cast? Do you remember whenever the flip phone came out? Does anyone remember the Nintendo 64? Or the Sega Genesis? Or the Super Nintendo ES? Do you remember whenever the 90s was the coolest years to be living in? I know this video is not very long, but if you remember anything that I just said, please either comment or send me a message. And please subscribe. Thanks. Peace.